Organized crime is highly lucrative because why would thousands of people risk their lives if it wasn't? Here are 10 corporations that transcended all records of illicit income and carved their names in the annals of the wealthiest criminal organizations to have ever existed. Number 1. Medellin Cartel. No record of organized crime can be complete without the mention of the Medellin Cartel, a highly organized drug and terrorist organization born in the city of Medellin, under the leadership of the notorious Pablo Escobar. Medellin is considered the first significant drug cartel due to its professional and robust organizational structure, where multiple Colombian traffickers joined hands to operate alongside Escobar. The cartel's operation was unlike anything drug traffickers had ever witnessed, and it laid the foundation for future cartels who wished to be as successful as Pablo Escobar. His main partner was his cousin Gustavo Gaviria, who watched over the cartel's shipping arrangements and international smuggling networks, supplying almost 80% of the world's cocaine during its peak. Can you believe that? With a network branching across the globe, you can only imagine the amount of money the cartel made. Here are the shocking numbers many criminals aspire to reach someday. At the height of its power, the Medellin Cartel earned an estimated $420 million a week, making its leader one of the richest people in the world. Escobar's net worth was almost $25 billion, which meant he had plenty of money to buy luxuries others could only dream of. He not only bought private planes and elite homes, but he was also known for his larger-than-life parties. Can you believe that in the late 1980s, he offered to pay off his country's debt of $10 billion if he would be exempted from any extradition treaty? The cartel earned so much money that around $2.1 billion was written off annually. Sometimes the money got eaten by rats or destroyed by wind and rain. In some cases, the cash just disappeared and was considered lost. The next cartel is probably more influential and capable than the infamous Medellin Cartel of Colombia. Number 2. Cartel de Sinaloa, also known as the Blood Alliance, is a massive international organized crime syndicate with deep roots in Mexico. The organization rose to power in late 1985 when the Guadalajara Cartel, one of Mexico's most prominent crime organizations, was broken down into various groups by U.S. and Mexican authorities. One of the groups was based in Sinaloa, a state with a long history of drug trafficking. It was also the home of corrupt traffickers such as Hector Luis Palma Salazar and Joaquin Guzman Loera, known as El Chapo or Shorty. The two powerful figures of the Guadalajara organization became the leaders of the Sinaloa cartel. This was a time when drug cartels were on a decline. With the death of Pablo Escobar and the United States crackdown on drug trafficking in the Caribbean, traffickers had to pivot and discover new smuggling methods. El Chapo was a genius when it came to implementing innovative strategies to move drugs across the country. From stealthy movements through tunnels to extensive use of bribes in the right places, El Chapo managed to revive the cartel's criminal dominance. By the early 21st century, the cartel had expanded its tentacles to more than 50 countries, but was mainly dominant in the U.S. The Sinaloa cartel was responsible for the majority of illegal drugs, mainly marijuana, heroin, cocaine, and methamphetamines, that were smuggled from Mexico into its northern neighbor. According to U.S. officials, the cartel controlled markets in almost every state across America. Isn't that unbelievable? But wait till you hear how much money the cartel made each year. According to estimates, the Sinaloa cartel earned an annual revenue ranging from $3 billion to $39 billion. Over time, other organizations got involved in extortion and human trafficking, but the Sinaloa cartel remained loyal to the business that made them billionaires: drugs. El Chapo, the notorious leader who helped the cartel reach new heights, has an estimated net worth between $1 billion and $4 billion. Authorities believe Shorty has over $400 million in cash reserves in U.S. currency, stacked in different parts of Mexico. Although the DEA apprehended El Chapo, his children were able to enjoy their father's immense wealth while inheriting his criminal empire. If you thought El Chapo's Sinaloa cartel was a force to reckon with, the following cartel would leave you shocked with its grip on organized crime. Number 3. Yamaguchi Gumi. The yakuza is the Japanese version of organized crime, and according to reports, almost 60% of the yakuza falls under 3 major cartels in Japan. These 3 groups include the Yamaguchi Gumi, Sumiyoshi Kai, and Inagawa Kai, but the largest is the Yamaguchi Gumi, a cartel founded in the year 1915. Can you believe the cartel has over 60,000 members, divided into 800 clans? Unlike Russian and American cartels run by powerful and influential individuals, the Yamaguchi Gumi is mainly made up of ethnic Koreans who have been subjected to generations of discrimination. That said, the cartel isn't anything like the mafia depicted in movies. The Yamaguchi Gumi operates like a typical business with official websites, company cards, and logos. It has 72 affiliate groups that pay a monthly membership fee to stay under the cartel's wing. The Yamaguchi Gumi are among the world's richest criminals, bagging billions of dollars each year from gambling, extortion, the sex industry, drug trafficking, arms trafficking, real estate, and construction kickback schemes. The cartel is also actively involved in internet pornography and stock market manipulation. All its illicit activities, controlled from its headquarters in Kobe City, enable the cartel to make a whopping $6.6 billion in net revenue each year. Multiple historians place the Yamaguchi Gumi members under the banner of ultra-patriotic and conservatives when it comes to matters affecting Japanese citizens. This specific ideological orientation of the cartel is endearing to some right-wing politicians. Consequently, many Yamaguchi Gumi members have been actively involved in Japan's politics since the cartel's inception. But the gang's influence isn't limited to politicians. It extends to almost all businesses in the third largest economy in the world. Can you believe that every business in Japan is somehow involved with the mafia? This further proves how the Yamaguchi Gumi has infiltrated Japan's economy and made sure that its success is entwined with the country's growth. Let's travel east to a land of myriad and exquisite cultures and subcultures, a country not usually considered a host to one of the world's wealthiest criminal organizations. Number 4. D Company is India's largest organized crime syndicate, founded and controlled by the disreputable Dawood Ibrahim. The name of the cartel has been penned by the Indian media as the gang's terror and fear are instilled deep within the hearts of the people of Mumbai. D Company's criminal journey began in the 1970s when Dawood Ibrahim worked for a local smuggler, Bashu Dada. Initially, Bashu Dada and Dawood Ibrahim's father were good friends, but things went south when the former insulted his father, inviting the wrath of Dawood Ibrahim. In 1976, Dawood, along with 7 of his close friends and his elder brother, Shabir Ibrahim Kaskar, attacked Bashu Dada with empty soda bottles. The fight marked the beginning of a long reign of terror in Mumbai's history of gang warfare. Shortly after the incident, Bashu Dada's key enforcer, Khalid Pelwan, encouraged Dawood to establish a network of smugglers, later forming a deadly organization known as the D Company. The cartel's biggest rival was the Pathan gang, which was already operating within Mumbai. But by 1986, D Company had eliminated all threats by killing everyone in critical positions. Ultimately, Dawood Ibrahim became the undisputable leader in the dangerous world of crime. Dawood's cartel made a bold move during Mumbai's economic downfall in the 1980s. By illegally acquiring almost 25 to 30% of India's total gold and silver imports, Dawood created an unbreakable monopoly that allowed him to set his own selling prices throughout the country. D Company became more powerful and influential over time by bribing politicians happy to share the cartel's immeasurable riches. The gang is involved in multiple illicit businesses, including extortion, kidnapping, racketeering, smuggling, trafficking, narcotics, and contract killings. Can you guess the net worth of Dawood Ibrahim himself? The man who was number 3 on the FBI's list of the world's most wanted fugitives has a staggering net worth of $6.7 billion. Next is a Russian mafia that is highly decentralized compared to D Company, but richer than its Indian counterpart. Number 5. Sonsevskaya Bratva. Meet the Russian mafia that has impacted international drug trafficking and amassed immeasurable wealth in its hunger for global dominance. The Sonsevskaya Bratva, or simply called Bratva, was established in the late 1980s by Sergei Mikhailov in the Sontsevo district of Moscow. The gang began recruiting young unemployed men willing to carry out illegal tasks for money. These aggressive men became the cartel's foot soldiers, instilling fear in locals and building the criminal organization's reputation against other cartels. The Sonsevskaya district was ideal since it was connected to several crucial exit routes, such as the M3 highway leading to Ukraine, the MKA, Moscow's Ring Road, and the Vnukovo International Airport. Following the fall of the Soviet Union, the Bratva used the existing political chaos to build strategic relations with politicians. They also invested heavily in legitimate businesses like casinos, banks, and even the Vnukovo airport to launder their dirty money. The gang operates in a highly decentralized environment comprising 10 individual quasi-autonomous brigades that work more or less independently. But that doesn't mean there is no check and balance system within the cartel. Despite multiple groups, the gang is overseen by a 12-person council that conducts regular meetings in different parts of the world, often disguised as festivals. The Bratva consists of more than 9,000 members, most of which are involved in the drug trade and human trafficking, illegal businesses with high risk and higher rewards. The cartel's income heavily relies on the movement of heroin that originates from Afghanistan and is distributed throughout Russia. It is hard to believe that Russia consumes almost 12% of the world's heroin, while it only has 0.5% of the world's population. The Bratva, rumored to be protected by Russia's Federal Intelligence Agency, boasts a staggering $8.5 billion in annual net revenue. The numbers prove why the cartel is recognized as the most powerful crime syndicate of the Russian mafia. The following cartel puts the Bratvas to shame, with more annual income than the GDP of countries like Lebanon, Jordan, and Uruguay. Number 6. The Indrangetta. This cartel was founded at the toe of Italy's boot, Calabria, turning it into a criminal organization deeply immersed in the region's customs and traditions. A confidential cable in 2011 revealed that a U.S. official considered Calabria a failed state if it wasn't a part of Italy. The statement was aligned with the declining law and order situation created by the Indrangetta, who had unleashed widespread corruption and lawlessness in the state. The name Indrangetta is believed to originate from the ancient Greek words andros and agathos, meaning brave or valiant man. The cartel gained power from the 1970s onwards, when it reinvested money made from kidnappings, their main business at the time, into public work projects and drug trafficking. The Indrangetta is responsible for multiple high-profile kidnappings, including John Paul Getty's son, who was abducted in Rome and held captive in the Calabrian mountains for a staggering 5 months. The cartel demanded $3 million from Getty and even cut off the kid's right ear to build pressure on the family. This real-life incident was later adapted for the big-screen movie All the Money in the World and the TV series Trust. The cartel's influence and strength lie in its capacity to rely on traditional clans and family loyalties. The Indrangetta never misses a business opportunity, whether it is in the legal or illegal economy. Believe it or not, but Italy's Anti-Mafia Investigative Directorate, DIA, calls the Indrangetta the absolute dominant force in the criminal world. The cartel's annual income will blow your mind, so brace yourself as we reveal the unbelievable numbers. The Indrangetta reportedly earns as much as $60 billion annually. That's more than Deutsche Bank and McDonald's put together. The cartel's yearly income even surpasses the GDP of some small countries. Out of the $60 billion, more than half, almost 80%, comes from Europe's cocaine trade, while the rest is generated from a long list of illicit activities such as tax evasion, extortion, fraud, corruption, human trafficking, and illegal movement of weapons. Next up is a cartel depicted in countless movies and is popularly known as the mafia. Get ready to find out how much money the criminal organization makes each year. Number 7. La Cosa Nostra. Originating from Sicily, the Sicilian mafia comprised groups of bandits that rose to power in the 19th century. These groups quickly gained influence and control over local establishments, instilling terror in people through extortion, cattle theft, and other kinds of theft and fraud. In Sicily, mafia means manly, and anyone in the gang considers himself a man of honor. But the cartel called itself Cosa Nostra, which meant our affair. The Cosa Nostra's influence experienced a boom in the 1950s as they illegally took control of building contracts, making millions of dollars for the cartel. The gang transformed from low-scale criminals to big players dealing extensively in heroin trafficking in multiple locations, including Italy, Europe, and the US. A cartel that was born in the streets of Sicily became a leading criminal organization in the US after the arrival of Giuseppe Esposito in the country. Esposito had escaped to the U.S. after killing the chancellor and vice-chancellor of a Sicilian province. Although he was arrested and sent back to Sicily, Esposito had sown the seeds of the mafia in America. One of the most disturbing incidents occurred in New Orleans in 1890, when the mafia brutally murdered David Hennessy, the New Orleans police superintendent. The killing triggered more than 100 Sicilian arrests, out of which 19 cartel members were convicted of murder. After the tragic incident, the gang's influence and strength started to spread. Over time, the Cosa Nostra claimed the title of one of the most powerful criminal organizations in American history. The cartel is most active in the New York City metropolitan area, parts of New Jersey, Philadelphia, Detroit, Chicago, and New England. Notable Cosa Nostra families include the Colombo, Bonanno, Gambino, Genovese, and Lucchese. And more than often, these families work together to execute dangerous criminal ventures. Considering the cartel has at least 25,000 members and 250,000 affiliates, how much income do you think the gang generates each year? Believe it or not, the mafia makes a whopping $50 billion per annum, more than the net worth of Nike co-founder Philip Knight. If you thought the Cosa Nostra was powerful, wait until you find out about the next cartel on our list. Number 8. Gulf Cartel. Known as one of the oldest criminal syndicates in Mexico, the Gulf Cartel has a net worth of $9.9 billion, making it one of the richest cartels in the world. The gang has a vast international network that it fully exploits for its criminal activities. From operations in Europe, West Africa, Central America, and South America to the U.S., the cartel is involved in an array of illegal dealings. Members of the Gulf Cartel are particularly known for their extreme violence, making them a force to reckon with. Gang members of the cartel are involved in every criminal activity possible, from assassinations, extortions, and kidnappings to smuggling. They will not miss the opportunity if they see a way to make illegal profit. The cartel's founder Juan Nepomuceno Guerra started with alcohol and heroin smuggling to the U.S. during the Prohibition era. But over the years, the cartel's focus shifted towards trafficking cocaine, methamphetamine, and marijuana. When the next leader, Garcia Abrego, took over the cartel, he extended his influence from the Mexican government to the United States, forging alliances with people in powerful positions. With this strategy, Abrego's business boomed to such an extent that the FBI placed him on the top 10 most wanted in 1995. Did you know he was the first drug trafficker ever to make that list? It is believed that the Gulf Cartel has ties with the Indrangetta and Los Zetas, two major criminal organizations, and they currently have strong cells operating within the US, Europe, and Africa. Coming up next is an Italian-American mafia that law enforcement agencies have weakened over the years, but is still running strong in the old country. Number 9. Kimora. An Italian mafia, the Kimora is a deadly criminal society that originated in the region of Campania. The Kimora is believed to be among Italy's oldest and most influential criminal enterprises, dating back to the 17th century. Compared to Sicilian mafias, which usually have a pyramidal structure, the Kimora has a horizontal system where each clan operates independently, often leading to violent feuds that last for years. Every clan has a capo or boss who is considered its leader. Under him are tens or hundreds of affiliates. The larger the clan, the more powerful its members, and capo. While it may initially seem easier to infiltrate a horizontal organization structure, in reality, individual clans make the cartel stronger because even if one of the capos is caught, another one is ready to take his place. According to the Italian government, the Kimora cartel is the most violent and murderous of all mafias in Italy. Their primary business is drug trafficking, racketeering, counterfeiting, and money laundering, illegal activities that politicians of their respective regions facilitate. Although many government officials and journalists have tried to break the political alliance between the Kimora and Italy's local government, they remain connected and even protective of various mafia groups. A 2013 study from the Università Cattolica and the Joint Research Center on Transnational Crime revealed that the Italian mafia collectively generated revenue of $33 billion each year that was divided among 4 major cartels. Kimora is one of Italy's leading gangs, ranking an estimated $4.9 billion per year from illicit operations ranging from drugs, gambling, sexual exploitation, and firearms trafficking to usury, counterfeiting, you name it. We saved the deadliest and richest criminal organization for the end. Here is a gang that turned from patriots to criminals for money. Number 10. Triad is a China-based criminal organization that was initially part of the secret Hung Society, formed to overthrow the then-ruling Qing dynasty. The Triads were considered patriots who carried out multiple revolutionary and underground activities at the turn of the 19th century to rid China of the corrupt Qing. However, after the People's Republic of China was established in 1949, secret societies like the Triads were forced out of the country by Mao Zedong. Consequently, these secret clubs fled the country, relocating to Hong Kong, Taiwan, Southeast Asia, and other overseas countries like the US. Although the Triads were formed to protect the people from corruption, they ultimately resorted to extortion and drugs to make an income. The Triad's core business is human trafficking, which generates most of its income. But that's not the only vice the cartel is guilty of. From engaging in various crimes like fraud, money laundering, and prostitution, the gang also smuggles and counterfeits goods like music, software, video, clothes, watches, and money. Wherever there's illegal money to be made, the Triads are ready to take their share. The Triad's human trafficking network is so strong that the cartel moves almost 100,000 people around the world each year. This, combined with their long list of other criminal activities, allows them to earn an incredible $13 billion in revenue. The cartel members are protected by the highly decentralized structure of the organization. In addition, even low-level members are given enough autonomy that others might perceive them as the boss. This makes it almost impossible for authorities to identify and capture the top hierarchy. A dispersed structure combined with extreme secrecy ensures the Triads stay under the radar while conducting the most despicable criminal activities. Authorities believe the cartel might be making much more money than $13 billion, but owing to the gang's loose structure, nobody knows the actual numbers for sure. That's all for today, folks. Remember to like the video, subscribe to our channel, and press the notification bell for more shocking videos on criminals.